Welcome to the world of Telly.
Hi, I'm Neil.
And I'm John.
And you're listening to a very special Christmas edition of World of Telly, the podcast where John and I watch every single TV programme ever made in no particular order. And how are you feeling today, John?
I'm feeling Christmassy. I have some eggnog on the go.
You've got eggnog, I've got a pint of Baileys.
A pint, okay.
Yes.
Have you not got any Skull, the Christmas lager?
I'm saving that for the second half of the podcast. We're doing two parts for this podcast, a little bit different to what we usually do. Instead of going straight into a deep dive into the programme that we've chosen to focus on this week, we're going to spend a little bit of time just talking about Christmas TV in general and what our favourite programmes are, and also what your favourite programmes are as well, our loyal listeners. Now, John, are you one of those people who used to get the Radio Times and circle all the programmes you're going to watch over Christmas?
Used to be. Yeah, I do. I still take out a bank loan every Christmas to buy the Radio Times. I've just bought it today, in fact.
My confession is I stopped buying it last year. It was the first year I never bought the Christmas Radio Times, and it felt very sad, but also necessary.
I have yet to flick through my Radio Times. I haven't. I've avoided the news.
You will not be using your felt tip pen very often.
Not on the Radio Times, anyway.
No. Okay, so what we're going to do is, and we haven't discussed this with each other, is that we're going to talk about our top 3 favourite Christmas shows, and it is entirely possible that we've both chosen exactly the same 3 programmes.
Yep.
So before we list our top 3 programmes, John, is there anything that almost made the cut but didn't quite?
Yeah, I had a few. I was agonised because I hate lists, and I'd have a different top 3 at probably another time. I had to leave out the Hello Hello Christmas special, the Gatto from the Chateau, the Drug in the Jug, the Pill in the Till. My favourite Christmas EastEnders was the one that reached the peak of misery when Arthur was in prison, and the last shot was him falling to his knees weeping. Happy Christmas from all on EastEnders.
Nothing says Christmas more like abject misery, does it?
Absolutely. And then, of course, there's that insane, when Noel Gordon goes to the fourth wall episode of Crossroads where she sings We Need a Little Christmas.
Yeah, that is great.
Which is stunning. And the other one, which is a bit of a holy grail for me, is the All-Star Record Breakers from 1975, which has an introduction with Roy Castle explaining that Ross McWhirter had been murdered by the IRA. Kind of put the damper on things a little bit.
I had 2 that didn't make the top 3. The first one is the Office Christmas special, the finale. And the other one is the Christmas episode of Shoestring. I don't know if you remember it.
I do, very well. Dangerous Game?
It is. It's the one written by Chris Boucher. And he actually manages to get 2 references to Doctor Who and Blake Seven into the script. And Trevor Eve says, I'm not interested in that, which is very good foreshadowing for Trevor Eve. And in that episode, he spends the time as like a reverse Santa Claus going around children's houses taking their presents away.
Wasn't it the last ever Shoestring? I think?
Yeah, the last ever episode, yeah. What a way to go out.
Yeah, a cracker.
Excuse me, I wonder if you could help me. I'm looking for a toy called Lunar Race 2000.
Is it an electric toy?
Yeah, it's in quite a big box.
Oh, I never heard of it. We've got Blake Seven, Doctor Who.
No, I don't really want any of those.
What's your third favourite Christmas TV programme, John?
I've started with an Alan Ayckbourn play called Season's Greetings. It was originally a stage play, had a run in a West End and then went off Broadway. And there was even a radio version of it. But the TV version was shown on Christmas Eve 1986 on BBC Two at 9 p.m. and it was repeated a couple of years later. I mean, apart from anything else, it's got Barbara Flynn at possibly her sexiest in it. She is so much of a vamp in it. It's absolutely insane. It has Nicky Henson, Jeffrey Palmer, who is brilliant in it, and Peter Vaughan, who is as terrifying as ever. But the other thing I like about it is that it's an incredible studio set with a massive staircase and an upper floor. It's a bit like those kind of crazy sets that they used to have with Lou Gray productions, the ITC productions. And it was like the last hurrah of the big studio kind of multi-camera VT thing as well. And there's a set piece in it where Jeffrey Palmer does this puppet show, which is incredibly boring, where he has like policemen arriving and horses going pom-ti-pom-ti-pom. And Peter Vaughan kind of sabotages it, and Jeffrey Palmer's character has a terrifying kind of breakdown. It's really kind of both Christmassy, very funny, but also on the edge of kind of bleakness, which is great. So I like that.
You're almost totally negative, do you know that? And that's such an easy thing to be, isn't it? So long as you stay negative, you're absolutely safe from laughter or criticism. Because you've never made anything or done anything that people can criticize. All they can really say about you is that you're a snob, a bigot, a racist, a chauvinist, and an ignorant, insensitive, narrow-minded, intolerant human. It's what?
My number 3 is Christmas 1995, and it's a comedy programme as well, and it is, of course, Knowing Me, Knowing Yule with Alan Partridge. I think it's the apotheosis of Partridge, as far as I'm concerned. Lots of great Partridge lore in there. Tony Hayers appears for the first time, denying Alan a second series, and it sort of ramps up and gets more and more, well, everything goes wrong incrementally until Alan basically loses his mind and ends up punching Tony Hayers out with his hands stuffed up a turkey, which is fantastic. Definitely a classic, and it should be repeated every year.
And on that bombshell, it's time for me, Alan Partridge, to say, knowing me, Alan Partridge, knowing you, wherever you are, and hoost, so hoost, is hoost a word? I don't know. I've just been told Dr. Hook is not a qualified medical doctor. Happy Christmas.
What's your number 2?
Well, my number 2 is another comedy, another sitcom. It's the first ever Decreasing Circles Christmas special called The Party, which is shown on the 23rd of December 1984. And it's the one where, as you know, the setup of Ever Decreasing Circles is Martin and Anne, the delightful Penelope Wilton and Richard Bryars, less delightful, living next door to Paul, played by Peter Egan. And Paul is Mr. Smooth, and Martin's, kind of constantly worried about being belittled by him or outdone by him. Paul invites 43 guests by mistake to his house, and they can't put them up. So Anne agrees they'll put them up. So Martin's got his house completely taken over, and he has to play games. I think it's very, very funny, and it has a brilliant bit with Howard and Hilda, and Howard in particular, where Martin, Paul, and Howard have to sleep together, and Howard keeps doing this gormless laugh because he so enjoyed the day, and he keeps laughing at bits that he remembered in this kind of way. I've always had, again, a massive soft spot for it, and I like the fact it's just half an hour. It's just the usual length, but it's an excellent Christmas special.
Why don't you just sing The Laughing Policeman and have done with it?
I don't know the words.
You know the laughing side of it, don't you? You've been lying there shrieking with laughter for the last 15 minutes.
I haven't been shrieking with laughter. I've been sitting here chuckling quietly at the memories of a very enjoyable day.
Well, I don't happen to think that bed is the place for chuckles.
I do.
Don't start.
My number 2 is EastEnders, and I've had to try and narrow it down. I chose a couple. The one that's in second place in my EastEnders rundown is from 1986. Can you guess what happens?
Oh, is it the Den-Angie divorce?
Well, it's 2 things. It's the Den-Angie divorce is probably the most famous, but it's also...
Is it when Pauline realises that he's the father?
Yes, and also something else happens.
Oh, wow, okay. What else?
It's when Arthur has his nervous breakdown and smashes the room up.
I mentioned EastEnders before, but that is an absolute cracker. You're quite right. What was I thinking of, not including it?
That was a hell of a Christmas, wasn't it, 86? So much happened. But that's not the one I chose.
Oh, wow, okay.
I chose the 2007 EastEnders Christmas special. Can you remember what happens in that one?
I can't.
Okay, it's the one where Max Branning and Stacey's affair is revealed to everybody on a DVD. And the reason I love it is, A, it's very cringy and very embarrassing, but also it's the downfall of Bradley. Do you remember Bradley?
I do, and he's a Doctor Who fan, isn't he?
He was a massive Doctor Who fan, and I remember thinking all the way through that this was bad enough for Bradley, but he's also missed the Doctor Who Christmas special. Which must have been even worse, but then he died a few hours later, so I don't suppose it matters in the long run.
Oh, yeah, did he fall off a roof or something?
Yeah, he fell off the Queen Vic, obviously.
Everyone just calm down, all right? We're going to sort this out.
She said sorry, Bradley. That don't mean anything.
How could you do this to me?
Even though I don't watch EastEnders and haven't for the last 10 years, I still dip in on Christmas Day just to see the abject misery at play.
Kind of thing about EastEnders, and I was a huge EastEnders fan for quite some time. I was probably starting to sort of kind of move away from it slightly, probably by 2007. I did see that because I do remember it. I suppose it's that balance, isn't there, between when EastEnders became self-aware of its Christmas things, because even the characters even start to make jokes about it, don't they? That you know, what could possibly go wrong? You know, we were all having Christmas dinner together in the Queen Vic. I suppose that's when it starts to kind of like lose something a little
Did they
bit.
ever do an episode of Christmas where everything just went okay?
I don't. Well, why don't we bounce that one back to the listeners and see if they can tell us if there is one?
A
But
hell of a twist, wasn't it?
yeah, I almost stood to attention and applauded when the Christmas one ended with Arthur on his knees, crying, weeping in prison. It was just magnificently bleak.
I think in last year's Christmas special, they did a reenactment of Arthur's breakdown with Ian Beale. It was like a homage.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, John, what was your number one?
Well, again, not terribly original, but I've gone with something which I can virtually recite word for word, which is The Good Life Christmas Special. Silly, but it's fun. So that's Esmond and Larby for 2 with the Ever-Decreasing Circles. Because it's in my mind, it was that incredible Christmas 1977, which is that kind of platonic ideal of Christmas at the BBC, because you got Morecambe and Wise and the Mike Yarwood Christmas show getting absolutely huge ratings, and The Good Life on Boxing Day also got ratings. But I just wanted to say about it because it's on now virtually every Christmas, pretty much every Christmas, and it's slightly shorn of the context it was in, which is the final series of The Good Life, which had been on earlier in the year and was definitely going to be the last series, had a plot and a character arc in it. Jerry's boss was resigning, and it'd be whether or not Jerry gets the job and fends off his rival, played by Philip Maddock, Snetterton, which is a great name. And the other was just a series of increasingly bleak disasters for the Goods.
Yeah.
Their garden gets ruined by an oil leak. And then the final episode is so incredibly bleak because their house gets broken into, vandalised and graffitied with like Nazi symbols.
Oh, God.
But it was so bleak, that episode, that aside from the initial repeat in 78, it wasn't shown again by the BBC until 1999.
Wow.
Even though the series was repeated endlessly during that period. So it's interesting because Silly But It's Fun, the name of the Good Life Christmas special, was a kind of almost like a corrective to what had been a really kind of bleak and gloomy and quite downbeat ending to Much Love series.
You're just being silly now.
True, that's the point, Margot. We're trying to be silly.
Why?
Because it's Christmas.
I don't see that being silly and Christmas go together at all.
They do in this house.
My number one, I've gone really obvious, I'm afraid. I've chosen Doctor Who.
Right.
The Doctor Who I've chosen.
Feast of Stephen?
No, not that one. It's not particularly good. In fact, none of them are particularly good, are they? Let's face it. But I've gone for the 2009 Christmas special, The End of Time, Part 1 and Part 2, which was a Christmas New Year special where David Tennant finally buggered off. I think it was at that point where Doctor Who was never bigger, and it's never been bigger since. I mean, they've got Timothy Dalton in it, for fuck's sake. They waste Brian Cox on a fucking ood. I mean, they were flying so high they could do anything, couldn't they?
Yeah.
And it's very Christmassy. It's very mad. It's got John Sim in an incredible performance.
Yeah.
And I remember that Christmas where everybody went on Facebook afterwards and changed their profile picture to be John Sim. Happy days.
Yes, yeah. And of course, our friends at Radio Free Scaro, they're big fans of those episodes as well, aren't they? They'll be pleased that you picked it.
I just think when there's a Christmas without a Doctor Who special since 2005, it just doesn't feel right. It's not the same. You know, when Chibnall did the New Year stuff, just wasn't right. And this year, complete write-off.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be a good Christmas this year.
Just for that reason.
Even if I change, it feels like dying. Everything I am dies. Some new man goes sauntering away. And I'm dead.
Now, we did throw open the question of what your favourite Christmas TV is to our listeners. What did they come up with?
Well, a bit like me, I suppose, quite a few listeners went for The Usual Suspects, and, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. Gary Barry, great name, goes trad with the Morecambe and Wise Christmas specials.
They're good then because they don't mention Christmas. You can actually watch them all year round.
That's true, actually. They don't, do they? There's not even any tinsel, is there? Or maybe there is, I can't remember. Someone called The Unfinished picked another quite common favourite, The Box of Delights.
I've never seen it.
Some people like religiously watch it, don't they, every Christmas and start it at a particular point. I was too old for it when it was on. I
Same
think.
here, yeah.
But, you know, a lot of people love it.
It looks rubbish.
How very Christmassy of you. Goodwill to all men.
I've got Lee Thacker here. He says, Drop the Dead Donkey, the Christmas Party. And he also chose The Avengers, Too Many Christmas Trees, which is a great episode.
Yeah. Ela Dove Seed and says Wallace and Gromit. Don't care which one. Brenna Collins goes pretty trad with The Snowman. Some have chosen Christmas specials of long-running series. Joe Scaramanga goes with Smith & Jones homemade Christmas videos. Still a Big Kid favours Steptoe and Son Christmas episode of Perfect Christmas. And this one is a new one on me. Patrick Stratford chose a 1997 episode of The Bill called Twanky.
Oh, I've never heard of that one. I'm guessing it's about a pantomime.
You would think so.
You're supposed to say, oh, no, it isn't.
Oh,
I've got the lovely Matt Bartley. He's chosen quite a few. He's chosen Porridge, No Way Out. He's chosen The Office finale, which I've mentioned. The League of Gentlemen Christmas special. Inside Number 9, The Devil of Christmas. The Community Christmas special. And Frasier Perspectives on Christmas. Good choices.
Yeah, all good choices. We got Robert Collins. He likes the 1984 version of A Christmas Carol with George C. Scott, which I think is a TV movie, followed by the Mystery Science Theater 3000 Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. Tim Worthington throws a curveball, choosing Marvel's Hawkeye. Matt Cuddington likes a blockbuster film on Christmas Eve, so not strictly favourite TV, but, you know, he particularly likes watching Flash Gordon. I saw that the other day and I had quite a laugh with that.
Sean Alexander said the same thing. He likes the blockbuster premieres like Indiana Jones and James Bond.
Yeah, and then there was somebody called Rainbow War 71 nominates Cosmic Christmas, a 1977 Canadian animated special where 3 aliens come to town to learn about Christmas.
I've got Jason Davis. He said The Stone Tape. He bought it from the BFI on DVD and quite by chance watched it on Christmas Day, oblivious to its original transmission date. So
yeah, I forgot about the Stone Tape actually. Yeah, that proper Christmas and didn't come up with any of the Christmas ghost stories as well, nor did anybody else.
That's because John Deere didn't answer us.
Oh yeah, that's sorry, John. Some are quite niche, and we will cover this as we cover every TV program in the future. Russell Parker and Phil Norman. Well, Russell picked the 1985 BBC Christmas ident. He calls it the last of the great mechanicals. But they both chose the Christmas 1975 rock musical Great Big Groovy Horse.
I've never heard of this.
Which is a retelling of the Trojan War. My God, Neil, you've got a treat coming with that. You'll be slack-jawed. It's quite something. Michael Clarke opts for Bernard and the Genie from 1991, which I haven't seen, with Lenny Henry, Alan Cumming and Rowan Atkinson. We had a couple of suggestions from Billy Smart. The first one he suggested was William's Worst Christmas, which is an episode of the LWT 1977 series Just William, which had Bonnie Langford in as Violet Elizabeth Bott. And then he also chooses a shoestring episode, The Dangerous Game.
Great taste.
And Billy thinks that the sense of time running out is very evocative of feeling that's specific to Christmas Eve. And the mighty Johnny Morris opts for 1999's The Flint Street Nativity, which also I've not seen.
And finally, I've got Mark Griffiths, who said the 1982 The Funny Side of Christmas, hosted by Frank Muir.
Yep.
Clips from Sorry, Butterflies, Yes Minister, and the like.
They're specially recorded for the programme, so you get a bit of extra Reggie Perrin. Yeah, you get extra Reggie Perrin. So you get a little bit with Leonard Rossiter doing a sort of 5-minute thing. It's quite good, actually.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah.
So thanks to everybody who gave their suggestions. We're now going to go for a deep dive into a programme that we've both chosen, programme very dear to our hearts, very Christmassy as well. And there's only one way we can really introduce this, and that's with the fantastic theme music. Of course, we've chosen K9 and Company, which was originally broadcast on the 28th of December 1981. Now, John, what the hell were they thinking?
Well, I mean, there had been attempts to spin off programmes from Doctor Who before. There was the sort of Terry Nation Dalek thing he tried to pitch to the States, the Destroyers, that was called. I think there was at one point it was mooted there'd be a Jago and Lightfoot spin-off from the talents of Weng Chiang. So I suppose that wasn't new. John Nathan Turner, the producer of Doctor Who, henceforth referred to as JNT, he'd got rid of K9 from Doctor Who. He got rid of K9 and the companion Romana because I think he thought they made too much of a kind of like an indestructible team.
He got quite a bit of flack for that, didn't he?
He did. There were campaigns to save K9 and everything. Now, JNT was a master at sort of press and getting publicity for things. So probably around that time that he thought, well, if K9 gets that much attention, then maybe there's something in that. Now, he had asked Elizabeth Sladen to come back to Doctor Who when Tom Baker was leaving because he wanted a familiar face to sort of bridge the gap. Elizabeth Sladen turned him down, and so did Louise Jameson. But obviously they'd had contact, and when he came up with the idea for a K9 series for which he wanted an Avenger-ish vibe,
right,
he went back to Elizabeth Sladen, who at that point was working on Gulliver in Lilliput, which was a Barry Letts CSO extravaganza. And so she was nearby and she immediately agreed, but that was before she saw the script. But anyway, yes, she immediately agreed. And the thing that's quite odd about it was Sean Sutton, who was head of drama, was really keen on the idea. And he suggested to JNT that it should be a 90-minute long pilot. So thankfully for us, Sean Sutton retired, and David Reed, who was the head of series and serials, read the synopsis that John Nathan Turner and the then acting script editor Anthony Root came up with. And David Reed just said, no, 50-minute. Which of course meant that they lost 2 episodes worth of Doctor Who for the forthcoming season as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that got hived off.
Did it really? I did not know that.
That's why you end up with Black Orchid being 2 episodes. The thing that really makes me laugh about it is that JNT only told Bob Baker and Dave Martin really, really late on, like May 1981, told their agent, just basically said, can we have permission? It was like, well, hang on, you're doing this, but you're not even suggested that we write it. But in the most Pyrrhic kind of victory of all, the agent demanded that they would get sort of first dibs at writing episodes of any resulting series, which of course...
Which was never going to happen.
Yeah, I've got a bridge I could sell to that agent, definitely, somewhere. But yeah, so there was a bit of bad feeling there. I mentioned Anthony Root. He was script editor for 3 months, and it was what you did at the BBC. He was following the career route. You have to do everything in the job that he was in. So there was no way he was going to hang around as script editor. He was there for 3 months, worked on 3 stories and this synopsis and a bit of script editing on K9 and Company. So they worked on the synopsis, as I said, and got commissioned. And so because he'd been working with him recently, JNT commissioned Terence Dudley. Terence Dudley, who throughout his TV career, which had been quite a long one at the BBC, he could start a fight in an empty room. He was always falling out with people. He worked on Doomwatch. He fell out with Jerry Davis and Kit Pedler, that just abandoned the series, and he went on to kind of like run it without any influence from them. He did Survivors and fell out massively with Terry Nation after just a few episodes. I mean, he had an interesting career. He'd done some sci-fi in the past. He did something that Michael Seeley's been doing some good work recently via his Substack about this series called The Big Pull, which is a kind of apocalyptic TV series from 1962. So he did have some form with sci-fi and obviously Doomwatch and Survivors. But it's the thing that's quite odd about it is that he was directing Meglos from season 18 of Doctor Who. Then he wrote 3 Doctor Who stories, 4 to Doomsday, Black Orchid, The King's Demons, all the classics. He seemed to just kind of just fall out with people as naturally as breathing. And at the point that Anthony Root moved on, Eric Saywood came in. Now, Eric's famously a ray of sunshine as well. God knows what was going on then. Apparently, by all accounts, Anthony Root was a very sort of level-headed, straight-laced sort of guy. But then you have Christopher H. Bidmead, Eric Saywood, who were, both prickly people. But he had a terrible relationship with Terence Dudley because he read Dudley's first pass at the script. And there are, in the production documentation, which you can find on the Doctor Who Blu-ray, in pen, he basically wrote a series of notes, and it's multi-pages, like about 10 or 12 pages of notes. And he's basically just poking holes at the massive plot holes that are in this crazy script. And just saying, but he perfectly just factually just saying, the characters here are 2-dimensional. Yeah. Why didn't Aunt Lavinia get in touch with Sarah after she's been away? He suggested putting in that line at the end where Aunt Lavinia says, oh, I gave it to so-and-so, who's the baddie. So that would explain it at least. So he's just trying to kind of make the whole thing make sense. And so Terence Dudley responds to this by calling him a clot. He then also goes over the head of Saywood to JNT, and Saywood wrote some suggested lines to make up for this thing, and he said that all of his contributions are rubbish. So Saywood was so stung by this that in a memo back to him, he basically just says, these kind of comments are totally unnecessary and isn't conducive to a positive working relationship. Neither is the patronising tone you adopt. So you've got kind of immediate kind of trouble going on. And
are you saying that this program could have been worse if Eric Saywood hadn't got involved?
That's exactly what I'm saying. And Terence Dudley was responding as if Eric Saywood was criticising, the Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
So that wasn't kind of going too well. When we get onto some of the aspects of the plot as well, it just seems a very odd way of approaching a pilot. And when we'll talk about what the series could have been.
Your auntie would write to the Standard letters and that.
Yes?
Upset some people.
Did she? Why?
Wrote about witchcraft.
Witchcraft?
Well, they're a bit sensitive about that round here. It's traditional, you see. A lot of people hereabouts still believe that the black art makes the crops grow.
The black art?
Well, that's what your auntie called it. Upset a lot of people.
Let's talk about the director, John Black. Did he do anything before this?
He did a few things. He worked on some single plays, The Odd Softly Softly. He did a play for Today as well, and some Crown Court. But you can't say his career was extensive before then. But then he did get a job with John Nathan Turner and directed 2 Doctor Who's, and K9 and Company directed The Keeper of Trock and penultimate Tom Baker story, and Four to Doomsday, also written by Terence Dudley. But pretty soon after that, he left the BBC, stopped directing really, and at one point became executive director of W.H. Smith's video division. Without being too unfair, Terence Dudley was a really, really experienced producer, but, he turned his hand to everything, and I'm not convinced that he was the greatest writer in the world, and I don't think John Black was the greatest director, as we will see, I think, in the actual programme.
Did John Black direct the title sequence?
I think so. Well, terrifyingly, in the production documentation, it's storyboarded. There's literally a storyboard
so
for the title sequence.
So they weren't just making it up as they went along then? That's incredible.
No.
We must talk about the opening title sequence in depth.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the music?
Yeah. Yeah, the music.
The title theme. It was written by Fiacre Trench. Who the hell is that?
It was very respected arranger and composer who went on to work with Hans Zimmer. And I presume that's not just on the Going for Gold theme tune. But the
Doctor in Distress, maybe?
Yeah. Van Morrison, Elvis Costello. The reason he was involved in this is he co-wrote some high-energy pop songs with Ian Levine. And the thing that they handed in was meant to just be a demo, but Peter Howell got hold of it and did a radiophonic workshop kind of mix of it. And it apparently didn't turn out as they wanted. But I mean, Ian Levine was an unofficial continuity advisor at the time. But other than that, he I have to say he's a slightly mysterious figure, and we don't have any further information about him.
If anybody's heard of Ian Levine, please let us know in the comments.
Yes, that'd be helpful.
They wanted it to be an orchestral score, didn't they?
Yeah.
It was supposed to be like Heart to Heart. I think that's what they were going for.
Well, that's what they were going for with the title sequence as well, apparently. It's aimed to be like Hawaii Five-0 or Heart to Heart.
My favourite bit is K9 on a dry stone wall.
I think my favourite bit is Sarah Jane sipping the wine and staring off with a look, and you can see her thinking, can I get my name off this contract? On one of the Blu-ray extras, there's we'll talk about him in a minute. There's a little piece on Ian Sears, who plays Brendan. He's been a film editor in Hollywood for years, and he actually talks about the title sequence.
Does he?
Yeah, and he talks about what it must be like to just have to kind of cut a sequence together where he only got 5 shots to do it. And he himself says, I wonder what was going through Elizabeth's mind when she was filming it.
They storyboarded it as well.
I know. Jesus. The storyboards are in the production documentation. It made me burst out laughing when I saw them. But anyway.
She's got a lovely car. It's a convertible mini Metro, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know cars. I can't help but find it slightly kind of appealing in a strange sort of way because it's just like so inept.
You actually like K9 and Company, don't you?
I'm very fond of it. I have to admit, I'm very fond of it. I didn't pick it in my top 3 Christmas things, but I do quite often watch it at Christmas.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I just think it's so deranged. There's just something about it that gets to me every time.
Every time I watch it, I always feel like I've fallen asleep in the middle and missed 20 minutes.
May as well mention it. I think in the complete Fourth Doctor special that DWM did years ago, Gary Gillett wrote a piece about his love for K9 and Company, and it chimes very closely with mine because there's a brilliant bit where he talks about Colin Jevons' character, introduces himself by walking up menacingly to them and saying, "I'm Tracy," which kind of sums it up, really. It's just, yeah, it's crazy.
I'm Tracy. George Tracy. I work for Miss Lavinia.
Oh, is my aunt not here?
She's in America.
But she wasn't due to go until after Christmas.
She went last Sunday week.
Oh, she wouldn't go without telling me.
I know she wrote to you.
Oh, I haven't been home. I was delayed. I've been abroad.
There was something about a cable to Reuters.
That's who I was working for.
Well, anyway, welcome to Morton Harwood.
Let's talk about the cast, shall we? I mean, obviously we've got Elizabeth Slade. We'll talk about her in a moment. The main cast is, well, the main bad guy, I guess, is Colin Jevons, isn't it?
It's him and Bill Fraser, isn't it? Are the spoilers? They're the baddies. But it's part of the direction thing is weird because it's the start of the program features some of the villagers as part of this coven of Satanists, and you see their faces, but 2 of them are masked. But it's sort of like, are you supposed to, in the very bad light, it's nighttime, it's really hard to see. It's like, are we supposed to have spotted Colin Jevons in there or not? It's slightly odd, but yeah, he always plays menacing brilliantly well. And Bill Fraser, who was in Meglos, playing a baddie in that, plays the sort of co-owner with Aunt Lavinia of this market garden.
Yes, it's an exciting backdrop of market gardening.
Yes.
Just what the kids wanted in 1981.
It is, and just the kind of thing you need to springboard a series.
Forget spaceships and aliens.
There is some chat about the pH levels of soil.
They say that they were going for a less sci-fi approach and going for a more supernatural approach. There's nothing supernatural in this program at all. They're just lunatics.
That's when you see the sort of thinking behind it. Yeah, we want it to be supernatural elements, but every supernatural element has to have a rational explanation. So it basically becomes Scooby-Doo.
And the rational explanation is they're all fucking idiots. Why are the police involved? Why are they letting this go on? There's no reason for any of this.
Should we explain the story?
Yes, go on.
Basically, Sarah Jane is going to live with her aunt in Morton Harwood, and there's also the character of Brendan, who's Aunt Lavinia's ward. And it's the first time he's visited, and Aunt Lavinia has gone missing. We see her at the beginning.
It's a big mystery, isn't it?
Played by Mary Wimbush, who seems to fluff almost every line she has, but they don't worry too much about retakes. We see her at the beginning, and she's with her friends Howard and Juno Baker. And she goes off. She's meant to be going away, but she goes early. And Sarah Jane doesn't know where she's gone. And we also see the Satanists. There are some Satanists. We see them right at the beginning in a coven, and they're burning a picture of Aunt Lavinia. So
the clear implication is that they've murdered her. That is the clear implication.
It's absolutely clear implication. And the last time we saw her, she was with Howard and Juno Baker. Sarah comes and she's asking around. There's Bill Fraser, who's grumpy. Colin Jevons and his son are sort of sinister and silent. And there's a postmistress, of course there is, in a Wicker Man kind of way. And then, of course, the key thing is that Lavinia has found crate, which has been delivered years ago to Sarah Jane Smith, but because Sarah's such a globe-trotting journalist, she's not got round to it. And, of course, she opens it up, and it's got K9 in it.
What do you think it does?
Well, we could try asking it.
Shump. You'll be taking it for a walk next. Hey, mistress, don't muck about.
It wasn't me.
I spoke, mistress.
What?
I am K9 Mark III.
K9 Mark III.
Affirmative.
K9.
Brendan, stop honking.
Brendan's got an incredible knowledge of how K9 works.
He seems to understand things like holographic memory wafers and stuff, even though it's 1981.
And K9 was created in the year 5000, wasn't it, or some such time. And K9 goes around and knocks over lots of panes of glass in the market garden, and they have to hide him from Bill Fraser. It's odd. And then basically Brendan gets kidnapped and is going to be sacrificed. And it's kind of chaotic. It's witchcraft and market gardening.
Swinging.
Well, that's the thing. The characters of Howard and Juno Baker are so kind of Dennis Wheatley swinger vibe, and their behaviour, because, spoiler alert, they aren't baddies.
No, they're just swingers.
But they act in an extraordinarily odd way. And the famous one is when Juno's talking to Sarah and persuading her to come over. And when she rings over, she just turns to her husband and goes,
"She'll come."
"Good." In a really strange way. And then at the end of the programme, they speak perfectly normally when it's revealed that they're good. It's so
pure red herring, isn't it?
Total red herring. It's absolutely crazy. And right at the end, when K9 goes steaming in to stop Brendan being sacrificed, he shoots stuns them all. And the two leaders that have got masks on, they're revealed. But it's really hard to see who they are.
Or care.
Or indeed. Especially it's actually the postmistress, but it's really hard to do.
Oh, is it really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I mean, it's like as you say, no one really cares. You just go, well, I'm not going to look into it too deeply.
I mean, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but it needed an extra half an hour, didn't it?
Well, it needed something, and it needed kind of directors to kind of help out a bit with some of the stuff.
It just ends so abruptly, and it just, I honestly, when I was watching it again today, I'd forgotten how abrupt it was and thought there was another half an hour left.
No, it ends with K9 singing a Christmas carol, doesn't it?
Yeah, the other thing is, it's set during Christmas, and they mention it's the winter solstice, so I think Monday the 22nd of December, the same day this podcast is going out. But nowhere in the village is there any Christmas decorations, which I found very odd.
Yeah, I mean, in many ways, it's more inexplicable than Artemis 8-1, which was shown the following day. It's there, isn't it? I kind of slightly worship it in a way. It's too strong a word, devil worship it. But it's just, the first you kind of build up to this idea of getting a spin-off from Doctor Who, and you end up with this. It's kind of... And I was quite excited when I was a kid.
I just can't imagine how a series would have looked using this formula.
Well, I think we get an idea. There was an annual. There was a K9 and Company annual, which came out August 1983. Or was it 82? Sorry, I might have got that wrong. But anyway, the annual has got 6, I think, prose stories in it. Now, okay, it was world distributors, and the world distributor Doctor Who stories were absolutely batshit crazy in comparison to the series. But basically, the 6 stories are K9, Brendan, and Aunt Lavinia and Sarah battling Satanists. Pretty much every time.
In the same village every week?
Not always in the same village, no, they cast their net. But there's an implication at the end of the programme, isn't there, that it's got into the newspapers, this whole story. There might be Satanists all over the country. So the idea that they're suddenly kind of like tracking down Satanists on a tour of Britain, trying to get the Satanists. And there's one where there's all the Satanists come tooled up, and they start like shooting at K9 and Sarah and Brendan. They've all got guns. And one of the stories features a film director called George Spielberg.
Oh, wow.
From then on, he's referred to constantly as Spielberg.
I just don't see how anybody could look at K9 and just think, yeah, witchcraft, that's a definite thing we need to go with. Of all the things, all the avenues they could have taken.
J&T came to realise that basing a Christmas special spin-off and having it about black magic and Satanists maybe wasn't the best idea at Christmas. And David Reed got quite concerned and sent a memo to tell him to tone it down. Can you imagine it? Tone down K9 and Company. And then brilliantly, J&T responded, as the black magic aspects of the story are eclectic, I don't feel we could in any way be accused of indicating that this is representative of witchcraft today, which makes it sound like Diabolists would get offended by the way that they're portrayed on K9 and Company.
Data witchcraft in England assimilated. Primitive traditional belief in rural areas, cosmic forces control weather to secure crops. Occult ceremonies invoke such forces. Most important ceremony falls on winter solstice, December 22nd.
It's tomorrow.
Watching it again today, the thing I was most surprised at is that Brendan is not as annoying as I remember. He's actually quite a good character.
He is quite a good character, and I think that's down to Ian Sears. Now, Ian Sears gave up acting quite some time ago. As I mentioned, he became a film editor and has been for a couple of decades now in Hollywood, lives in LA. But he was actually, I think, a pretty good actor. He was in To Serve Them All My Days. Seemingly that was the breeding ground for people.
Couch.
Okay, that's right. But he went on to be very good in a programme I'm quite fond of called Johnny Jarvis.
Oh, yeah.
He played the main character in that, really. And also, he was the young Richard Gere in King David, the cinema film. He played King David as a boy. So he was good. He was a good actor. And I don't find Brendan anything like as annoying as he was. It's a good performance. The other bit that's quite effective is when they have the little bit of the Doctor Who theme as Sarah realises that the Doctor hasn't forgotten her.
Where are you from, K9?
From the doctor.
From the Doctor?
Affirmative.
Oh, you can't mean the Doctor.
My precise meaning, mistress, a gift to you.
So this went out at Christmas, 28th of December 1981. What was ITV showing at the same time?
They were showing Billy Smart's Circus. Not our friend Billy Smart, obviously the circus master Billy Smart.
How did it do in the ratings?
It did better than any Doctor Who story from season 18.
That's not hard though, is it?
It's not really, because that was famously the disastrous Buck Rogers in the 25th Century season where they had to reschedule it. The only time that ITV had managed to get their act together and network an alternative. But it was 8.4 million viewers.
And that's not bad, is it? Because not everyone got to see it, did they?
Well, no, that's right, because the Northwest pretty much couldn't watch it because the Winter Hill transmitter went down.
Lucky bastards.
Apparently, the plaintively JNT says in one of the memos, it's a little exchange with Elizabeth Sladen actually, that the controller of BBC One placed in his top 6 Christmas shows. Whether that's of all time or just that year, I'm not too sure.
It was actually repeated the following year, again at Christmas, wasn't it?
It was on BBC Two, and I watched it even though I already had it on tape.
So it did okay in the ratings, but it just didn't go to a series. What was the reason for that?
Well, I think we've just explained quite a few of them.
There must have been more to it. I mean, it got 8.4 million viewers.
They used a phrase, I think, about changes in management. And basically, I just don't think the management that were there thought it had legs for a series. I mean, he was very disappointed, I think, but because JNT wrote to Elizabeth Sladen about this, and she replied, quote, "You should feel pleased that you got it off the ground." So I don't know how heartbroken Elizabeth Sladen was.
But it's weird, isn't it, how Sarah Jane Smith then became, inextricably linked with K9, even though they weren't in the series together.
Yeah, it kind of just continued, didn't it? Because they were in the Five Doctors briefly. Anyway, K9 was in it briefly. And then, of course, in the Sarah Jane Adventures.
And School Reunion as well, yeah.
School Reunion, of course, yeah, the Sarah Jane Adventures. But, of course, Baker and Martin and IPR and things like that made it difficult for K9 to appear a lot, didn't it, basically?
I think he just appears in a brief cameo in the actual Sarah Jane series. He's stuck in a black hole, I think.
Something like that, yeah. I mean, basically, it was when they were trying to launch that Australian K9 series.
Oh, God, yes, that.
They didn't want K9 being overused anywhere else.
Oh, God, we're going to have to do that one day.
Yeah, I know. Well, let's leave it a while.
Who is the Doctor?
Affirmative.
He's a very, very great friend of mine. Oh, how is he, K9? I may call you K9.
It is my designation, mistress.
Oh, how is he?
No available data. What is the Earth year?
1981, December 18th.
The Doctor last spoke in 1978 Earth years. He said, "Give Sarah Jane Smith my fondest love. Tell her I shall remember her always."
So K9 and Company did have an influence on future Doctor Who in the sense that, there was a whole spin-off with Sarah Jane. So it did prove that the concept would work. But it's also a programme that was remade as a big budget film as well, wasn't it?
Were you there?
Yes.
Yes. We went to the cinema bizarrely in London together, didn't we? With Simon Harries, our friend, and a few others, and went to see Hot Fuzz. And Hot Fuzz has got a really distinctively K9 and Company feel about it. In the actual cinema, Simon grabbed my arm when they had one of the bits with the Satanists and said, "K9 and Company." Nobody's ever said that to me in a cinema before. So I really do feel that. And then I think the same thing, I don't know whether you've seen it or not, but Ben Wheatley's film Kill List, which is a really disturbing film.
It is.
To say the least, has got a scene, again, that really is reminiscent of K9 and Company. Now, maybe that just any scene of Satanists dancing a jig around a fire is going to look similar. But, it's Ben Wheatley. He went on to direct Doctor Who. He's clearly a fan.
It gets a bit of a bad rap, doesn't it, K9 and Company?
I don't know what it is about it. Whether it's just because I was really excited to see it when it was first on. But I was under no illusions then that it was really any good. But just like anything else, it was the early days of us having a video, a VCR, and everything then I managed to tape from the start of Davison through. I had on tape and I just watched them over and over again, and I watched K9 and Company over and over again. There's a kind of comfort blanket feel to it, I think.
And if people want to watch K9 and Company today, where can they do it?
It's on iPlayer alongside most of Doctor Who. So yeah, and you can treat yourself with some Terence Dudley. Watch The King's Demons.
You can actually buy it on Blu-ray.
You can. It's included on the season 18 Blu-ray.
So John, that brings to the end the first season of World of Telly. We're going to be back in the new year, and what are we watching next?
We're watching UFO.
Until then, make sure you have a very Merry Christmas, and we will see you next year. And until then, I've been Neil.
And I've been John.
And you've been listening to The World of Telly.
Goodbye from the world of Telly.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.